Imagine a plague so devastating it killed up to half the world's population in just a few years. A microscopic killer that reshaped history, toppled empires, and left entire cities in ruins. For centuries, the Black Death's true origin was a mystery, until now. Ancient DNA from forgotten graves has finally revealed the shocking birthplace of the deadliest pandemic in human history. Where did it begin? And how did it spread? Stay with us as we unravel a 700-year-old enigma that's rewriting the story of the Black Death. The Black Death. It's a name that sends shivers down the spine, even today. Between 1346 and 1353, this catastrophic pandemic swept through Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa, claiming an estimated 25 to 50% of the population, tens of millions of lives. Entire villages were wiped out. Economies collapsed. Societies were reshaped. But one question has haunted historians, scientists, and archaeologists for centuries. Where did it all begin? For years, theories pointed to China, the Middle East, or even Europe itself as the plague's starting point. But the truth was buried, literally, in a forgotten cemetery near Lake Issyk-Kul in modern-day Kyrgyzstan. Thanks to groundbreaking research published in Nature in 2022, ancient DNA from 14th-century graves has finally pinpointed the Black Death's origin. This isn't just a history lesson, it's a detective story spanning centuries, combining archaeology, genetics, and human resilience. Today, we're diving deep into this discovery. We'll explore how a team of scientists cracked the case, how a tiny bacterium called Yersinia pestis became a global killer, and what this tells us about pandemics past and present. Let's journey back to the 14th century and uncover the truth behind the Black Death. To understand the Black Death's origin, we first need to grasp its impact. Picture Europe in 1347. Ships arrive in Sicily from the Black Sea, carrying not just goods but a deadly stowaway. Within months, a mysterious illness spreads like wildfire. Victims develop fever, chills, and grotesque swellings called buboes, pus-filled lymph nodes that turned black, giving the plague its name. Most died within days, sometimes hours. The bacterium Yersinia pestis, carried by fleas on rats, was the culprit. It spread through bites, contact, and even the air in its pneumonic form. By 1353, the Black Death had killed an estimated 25 to 50 million people in Europe alone, roughly a third of the continent's population. Globally, the toll may have reached 200 million. But it wasn't just about numbers. The Black Death reshaped society. Labor shortages led to the decline of feudalism. Survivors demanded better wages, sparking social upheaval. Art and religion took on darker tones, with paintings of the danse macabre, skeletons dancing with the living, becoming common. Economies crumbled as trade stalled. And yet, amidst the chaos, no one knew where this plague began. Was it a divine punishment, as medieval people believed? Or did it have a more earthly origin? For centuries, historians pointed to vague records of a plague in China or Mongolia, carried along the Silk Road. Others argued it emerged in the Middle East or even Europe's ports. The lack of concrete evidence kept the mystery alive, until a team of researchers turned to a place few had considered, a remote valley in Central Asia. In 2022, a team of international researchers, including historian Phil Slavin from the University of Stirling and geneticist Maria Spyrou from the Max Planck Institute, published a groundbreaking study in Nature. Their work centered on two medieval cemeteries in northern Kyrgyzstan, near Lake Issyk-Kul, Kara-Jigich and Barana. These sites, first excavated in the 1880s, held a clue that had been overlooked for over a century. The cemeteries were unusual. In 1338 and 1339, there was a sudden spike in burials, far more than in previous years. Tombstone inscriptions explicitly mentioned pestilence as the cause of death. This caught the attention of Dr. Slavin, who wondered, could this be the Black Death's starting point? To find out, the team turned to ancient DNA. They analyzed teeth from 7 skeletons exhumed from the cemeteries, now stored at the Peter the Great Museum of Anthropology and Ethnography in St. Petersburg. Why teeth? Because tooth pulp is like a time capsule, preserving traces of bacteria in the bloodstream at the time of death. Despite the risk of contamination and degradation after 700 years, the researchers struck gold. In 3 of the 7 skeletons, they found ancient DNA of Yersinia pestis. Even more astonishing, 2 of these samples contained a single strain dated to the first half of the 14th century, predating the Black Death's arrival in Europe in 1347. By reconstructing the pathogen's genome, the team discovered that this strain was the ancestor of the one that caused the Black Death. It was also closely related to modern Y. pestis strains found in marmots, rodents native to the nearby Tian Shan Mountains. This suggested the plague didn't come from far away but emerged locally, likely jumping from marmots to humans in the Chui Valley. The researchers called this event the Big Bang of plague diversification. From this ancestral strain, Y. pestis mutated rapidly, spawning 4 major lineages that spread across Eurasia. The Chui Valley, a bustling hub on the Silk Road, was the perfect launchpad. Diverse communities of Nestorian Christians, Muslims, and others traded goods, animals, and, unwittingly, fleas carrying the plague. So, how did a plague in a remote Central Asian valley become a global catastrophe? The answer lies in the Silk Road, an ancient network of trade routes connecting East Asia to Europe. In the 14th century, the Chui Valley was a vibrant crossroads. Merchants carried silk, spices, and grain, while nomads moved livestock like sheep and goats. These animals often harbored fleas, and fleas carried Y. pestis. The plague likely spread through trade caravans, reaching the Black Sea by 1346. From there, ships carried it to Mediterranean ports like Messina and Genoa, where it exploded into Europe. Warfare and climate change may have amplified its spread. The Mongol invasions disrupted populations, while a cooling climate, known as the Little Ice Age, may have driven rodents closer to human settlements, increasing flea-to-human transmission. Historical records and burial artifacts from Kyrgyzstan support this timeline. Coin hoards and inscriptions suggest the region was a melting pot of cultures, making it a perfect breeding ground for a pandemic. The Black Death wasn't just a biological event, it was a consequence of human connectivity. The same trade routes that brought prosperity also brought death. Let's take a closer look at how this mystery was solved. Ancient DNA analysis is like forensic detective work. When someone dies with a bacterial infection like Y. pestis, traces of the bacteria's DNA linger in their bones and teeth. The team, led by Maria Spyrou and Johannes Krause, used cutting-edge sequencing to extract and reconstruct this DNA. They compared the ancient strain to modern Y. pestis genomes and historical samples from Europe, Russia, and elsewhere. The results were clear. The Kyrgyzstan strain was the ancestor of the Black Death strain, differing by just 2 mutations. This pinpointed the Chui Valley as the plague's birthplace. But the findings aren't without debate. Some experts, like Hendrik Poinar from McMaster University, caution that the evidence isn't definitive. Older Y. pestis strains have been found in Latvia and Russia, dating back thousands of years, suggesting the bacterium was already widespread. Could the Chui Valley be just one piece of a larger puzzle? Still, the Kyrgyzstan discovery is the strongest evidence yet for the Black Death's origin. The Black Death isn't just a story of the past, it's a warning for the future. By understanding its origin, we learn how pandemics emerge and spread. The Chui Valley was a global hub, much like our modern cities. Trade, travel, and human interaction fueled the Black Death, just as they've driven modern pandemics like COVID-19. The Kyrgyzstan discovery also highlights the power of interdisciplinary science. Historians, archaeologists, and geneticists work together to solve a centuries-old mystery. Their findings remind us that pandemics are shaped by biology, environment, and human behavior. Climate change, urbanization, and global trade could spark the next outbreak. Are we ready? Visual. Footage of marmots in the Tian Shan Mountains, followed by a lab developing vaccines. Today, Y. pestis still exists in rodent populations, causing occasional outbreaks. Antibiotics like streptomycin can treat it, but in the 14th century, no such defenses existed. The Black Death teaches us resilience, and the importance of learning from history to prepare for tomorrow. The Black Death was humanity's darkest hour, but it also showed our ability to endure and adapt. Thanks to ancient DNA, we've finally traced its origins to a small valley in Kyrgyzstan, where a microscopic bacterium changed the world. This discovery isn't just about solving a historical puzzle, It's about understanding how pandemics shape our past and threaten our future. What do you think? Could another plague like the Black Death strike again? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let us know if you want more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories that bring the past to life. Until next time, keep exploring.